Welcome to In Defense Of, making the case for overlooked, forgotten or derided movies in 5 minutes or less. Don't have 5 minutes? Here's 5 seconds. Today, In Defense Of Riot, a 1996 direct-to-video action movie starring the king of my heart, Gary Daniels. It's Christmas Eve in LA and the streets are a war zone, gripped by riots after innocent teenagers are gunned down by cops. In the midst of it all, wealthy heiress Annalisa Gray is kidnapped by gang lord Shyboy, who demands $2 million for her release or she'll be killed. Enter Shane Alcott, SAS. He's sent into no man's land to retrieve Annalisa and get her out alive. So it's Escape from New York with Gary Daniels, basically. The very first movie I reviewed for In Defense Of was Rage. I'd recommend watching that if you've not seen it, as most of what I said there is also true of spiritual sequel Riot. It's a non-stop action movie that casts aside logic to ensure the viewer gets as many action set pieces in 90 minutes as is humanly possible. From its opening credits splicing real-life Riot footage with that textbook gritty font, Riot is clearly a dirtier and more urban affair than Rage and far less oddball. That's not to say that Riot is entirely devoid of weird moments though. Remember the BDSM couple with the gorilla suit in Rage? Riot has a young man who doesn't know how to cook a pizza. Clearly not a foodie, but that doesn't stop him from having a framed picture of a burger on his wall. Both Rage and Riot were made by PM Entertainment. You don't hear that name thrown around too much these days, but throughout the 90s they pumped out dozens of straight-to-video action films packed with stunts and action scenes that are legitimately exhilarating. They hit a sweet run of form between 1995 and 1998, and it's during this time they made a trio of films starring Gary Daniels: Rage, Riot and Recoil. PM made films with a crucial rule in mind. There should be some sort of action every 7 minutes, even if it's just someone running or kicking. That's around 12 action sequences per movie. I tried counting how many Riot had, and honestly it was hard to know when one action scene ended and another began at times. It's the range of action that makes it so damn entertaining. We get martial arts, gunfights, car chases, helicopters, diggers, rocket launchers, and the highlight of the movie where our hero takes on an entire motorbike gang. Look, that bloke is on fire and riding a motorbike. When was the last time you saw that? Of course, there needs to be some sort of story, a reason for our action scenes to happen. The basic framework is good old Escape from New York.
Inside this circle is a no man's land. Nobody gets in and nobody gets out.
Add a dash of 90s politics, American race relations, the 1992 LA riots, the Troubles, and you've got a sturdy mishmash of a plot to hang your action from. Gary Daniels, I love you Gary, is something of a revelation here. His acting is quite good. I maligned his efforts in Rage, and while he was unconvincing there and in other films I've seen him in, and I've seen, I don't know, 8 Gary Daniels films, he's not bad here. He actually dishes out some decent, heartfelt, emotional stuff convincingly.
She was kidnapped. I was sent in to get her out.
He even teaches us all how to use chopsticks.
Yeah, it's simple. Look, just put it in one hand like this between your fingers and use this one for leverage.
Well done, Gary. While you can be forgiven for not having heard of a mid-90s straight-to-video action movie, its relative obscurity doesn't correlate with low quality. You watch a PM movie for mental action scenes, and that's what Riot delivers, so to criticise it does seem somewhat nitpicky. Let's do it anyway. The twist that comes in the middle of the film, it's not an inner-city gang responsible for the kidnapping, but actually ex-IRA mercenaries, introduces us to a wealth of terrible Irish accents.
Pathetic pillocks. Gentlemen, we've got work to do.
The supposedly English Annalisa doesn't fare much better.
Can you wait around? I get off in an hour.
That said, this is a Gary Daniels movie, so strange accents are par for the course.
The others didn't last.
The whole movie takes place during one night without much variation in scenery, which fatigues the eye and leaves the film feeling a bit samey throughout. Not much the filmmakers can do about this though, as the whole point of the movie is that it takes place entirely on Christmas Eve. I did tell you that my criticisms are nitpicky. All action movies ever. Really though, Riot reminds me of 90s beat-em-up video games. Streets of Rage, Final Fight, that kind of thing. That whole urban, enemy, gang territory, street fighting thing resonates clearly. Entertainment in its purest form, Riot is another example of PM's mid-90s winning formula. Insane action delivered at a frenetic pace. But there's also some political commentary and the gold dust that is Gary Daniels acting convincingly. It's a perfect example of why so much direct-to-video output of years gone by deserves another look. The first person to speak in Riot is Harry Johansson, who you may remember as the journalist in Rage. Does this mean that Rage and Riot exist in a shared cinematic universe? Do Alex Rayner and Shane Alcott both live in the same version of LA? Are there two Gary Daniels in one city? That must be the case. Go to hell, Marvel Cinematic Universe. Where are my Gary Daniels crossovers?